That's good.
Hey, Rodney, what's up?
Not much. So I'm gonna give a little bit of an introduction, and then we should get started.
Okay, sick.
So if you're watching this live, this is gonna be on YouTube. Otherwise, just stay tuned and just keep watching. And my name's Rodney. This is the Asterysk podcast where we introduce really cool people who are super passionate, whatever they're really interested in doing and want to specialize in. And this is episode number 4. We have a really special guest today, Chris Cernohous, aka Trix.
Been a little too nice for y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. A6 all the hate. I won't get a ball today. Got lost in the ball.
So please introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, I'm Chris Cernohous. I'm from Wisconsin. I've been into tricking for 6 years, I guess, and my life started when I started tricking, is what I'd say. So, yeah.
Cool. How would you explain tricking to like the average person?
I actually get the question quite a bit. I think my go-to is usually acrobatic martial arts is what I start with, and then if they jump to it, some people know what it is right away. Otherwise, I'm like, capoeira, and if they still don't know, then I just end up showing.
Actions speak a lot louder than words. So, yeah, more onto that. I tell people like I'm a tricker. I like to do tricking, and I'm like, do you know what tricking is? They're like, no. Is it where you trick people? And then, uh, do you think tricking is like a stupid name? Like it should be like a different name, you think?
I think I think no. And also like everything in my mind is categorized under like the verbiage that everybody uses. Like, like down here in Colorado too, for example, like everyone uses TKT. So they call like a cheat 9, a cheat 7 round. That messes with I can't do it that way. I have to do a cheat 9 because in my head that's how I categorize it. Like if I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
don't do it the right way. So it's called tricking, and that's what I've always known, and I couldn't call it anything else. And also like you said, like do you trick people? Like I think there's just like a really negative connotation with like the word trick, right? But it's like that's so underused. Like the negative side of that is so underused. It's like not even relevant anymore. Like magic tricks, like that's like you said, like trick people. That's the go-to thing. Like that, they don't think the worst.
All right, so let's talk about your entire journey and how you got into tricking. So how long have you been doing tricking for, and how did you get into it?
Okay, so I guess I tried like a little bit of every sport as a kid, and they were all really boring to me. So I was like constantly, basically trying everything that I could. I was like basically searching for tricking without knowing I was searching for it. And then I guess in high school, I took a wrestling class, and that was pretty fun. It was intricate enough. It was um, it interested me. But then there were mats there. So if there were mats there, people were doing flips and tricks and using them for other things too. So someone taught me a backflip really quick, and then after that, I did it one time, but I couldn't replicate it. I couldn't do it again. So I went to search how to like understand it better, and then after that, you just find maybe Epic Kyle Mendoza. That he's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
few people out there who's making YouTube videos, and yeah, I obsessed over those and learned a lot from that. So yeah,
Uh,
doing it for I guess. So I did parkour at first, so that was for 2 years, and then I did tricking. I guess like for 5 years ish now.
okay. As of right now, do you have any hobbies that you do outside of tricking that are pretty big?
Yeah, I loved doing art, and then now I'm in Colorado, so we're doing hikes all the time. I'm super ready to get into skiing once it snows here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Really into like just understanding the human body, which is also like a side effect of just tricking. I use it to help tricking, so anything like that.
Cool. What would you say your most difficult trick is in tricking?
The most difficult for me to do,
Yeah,
interestingly enough, I'd have to say cart trip, which is crazy, right? So like the reason is because I broke my ankle a while ago. So tricks that use my right leg are much harder. So like snatch cannon is probably easier than cart trip some days. And like and like triple cork is easier than cart trip is for me. Just because the way you hit off the 2 feet, my ankle, like my body just needs to be way healthier to do it than I would need to otherwise, you know?
Yeah. Are there any is there anything you're working on right now? Any specific combos, any specific tricks that you're trying to get down consistent?
Yeah, this last week or two, I've been spamming backside 12, which is off 2 feet. So that's gonna help. I'm basically training efficiently, trying to get that right ankle to to really help me out. So if I can do the backside 12 a lot, then the cart trip will be easy. And if the cart trip is easy, the air awareness is there. So then triple cork is easy. And if triple cork is easy, I can snatch cannon. Like they're all connected to in my head. So it's like I'm doing backside 12 a ton, but like I'm doing triple cork and dub every session at the end of the session also. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
do them when you're tired. You can do them when you're not tired.
yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Like triple cork is like a game for you. It's so like I see you land it so nicely. It's so good. So let's talk about samplers. Oh, crap, my phone dropped.
Yeah, you're good.
So, like, what's your thought process of making a sampler? Like, what do you want it to like symbolize?
Um, I guess most edits or samplers in general, I really want it to symbolize like how I felt or like even replicate the music I was playing. Like when I landed my first triple cork, I made the sampler. It's called I'm a Tricker, and I used the song that I landed my triple cork to in that sampler just because it's like that's what that's what was playing. It was giving me the hype that I needed, and it kind of replicated like my feelings of like the sessions are like sometimes you have like a lighter session, so you play lighter music for the sampler or whatever. But then also you also want to like I really want to like inspire other people through my tricks and stuff. So if it doesn't fit, then it doesn't fit. But I'm not going to use a song that I don't like personally for kind of to give the sampler a vibe.
One of the samplers, one of my favorite samplers they made is called Mirror Me, and yeah, I liked it. Just like simple, it was good. A lot of good tricks, a lot of good effects to it. The song was pretty catchy too. So
Yeah, that was my first cart trip that was in
yeah,
that
yeah,
sampler,
yeah.
or my first triple cork. So yeah, I know exactly where that one is. Very cool.
So what are some of your favorite samplers from other people that you like watching as inspiration?
Um, Recently I've been watching Ragnarok by Mike Guthrie a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's just everything in that sampler is so easy for him. Plus, he's training in Flip Shack, which is where I train. So I constantly am like watching that because the cat's floor is way better than the other floors. But I'm seeing Mike Guthrie do this insane shit Flip Shack floor. So I'm like, okay, like don't hold yourself back because the floor is maybe not as good as you're used to. So like he can do it, I can do it. We're both people. And then I guess E.T. By Ethan Turner is
yeah.
like, oh, that's so good. It's like it's one of the few samplers that I enjoy that isn't like hard, like isn't really hard. It goes hard, but in a different way because it's like a lighter song, kind of. It's black and white, slow mo kind of stuff. And then I have to say one more, which is probably Sicko by Zen. Just the first half of that is so good.
I gotta check that one out. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that one's so good. If you saw if you saw it was like a 3-part sampler that I put out. It has the song "Scared to Close My Eyes," in there. That's the song. I got that from Zen. So.
Is that the is that the 9 minute one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen part of it. I haven't seen all of it though.
Oh, you gotta
Uh,
watch. It just gets
yeah,
better.
yeah, for sure. I gotta catch up on that. So, tricking is a very high impact sport, and you already mentioned a little earlier that you had some injuries. So, have you had any other serious injuries as
Ooh.
well?
All right, yeah. So when I started, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm gonna get injured doing this. Like, I'm just gonna attack it in a way that like kind of avoids the injuries, and it didn't work. I definitely got injured. But what's cool about tricking versus the other sports, any other sports, even like tumbling or like anything, is like you can work around the injuries. So I've had quite a few. So I guess the first one is I separated my shoulder 3 times I did a D leg and I slipped on wet grass. I did
Oh,
a flyaway full, but I didn't know how to twist off a bar, so I didn't flip at all, and I just landed on my side again, same shoulder. And then I think it was when I first learned cork. The first few, I just hit the same one, and it was just already so bad by that it was like just popping out. So my collarbone's kind of high on this side. But and then I guess once I learned cork the same day, I got back from like a 3-hour session and I went to tramp and I was like training just the course to getting on smash and I was super super tired. I go to the tramp and I was like I had just learned double back and I was like all right, I'm gonna do double back, like I just have to do it, like I just do it one time. And I did double back and I partially tore my MCL. So
oh my God, dude.
that was still all in the first 2 years. So I was still only doing parkour at this point. And I was like basically transitioning into tricking, which is why I was learning the cork. And then after that, obviously you get like wrist sprains and like small injuries like that. But then my next big one was my broken ankle, which is I think it's about 7 or 8 months out now from surgery. So it's doing really good, but it's definitely holding me back. Like the punches are super tough. And like last night was the first night I could do snapu for like 2 weeks because it couldn't jump. Like the mobility lacks. So like when I push, I can only push to here versus like here. So if I can push to here, then I can snap easily. But otherwise, it just doesn't work, you know? So, but yeah, I guess, want me to go more in depth on the broken ankle? Like there's quite a bit going on with that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go in depth for your
Yeah,
broken ankle.
with the broken ankle, what it was is like, it was just, I was doing, like, I guess when you twist, so I twist left, so my left leg lands first. So your brain understands a 360, but when you start to like, oh, I want to do more than 360, now your right leg is landing because you're in hypers. So all this new territory is all hyper territory every time. You're like, oh, I need to add on. So you're landing on your right ankle. So as I'm breaking through my twisting, plateaus, I'm doing like cork hyper. And I'm like, okay, got that. Now I'm doing double cork hyper. And it's just the right ankle is just taking the beating over and over. So what ended up happening is I grew bone spurs in my right ankle. And then I specifically remember it was a box cutter at a karate gym at Eric's house or at his school that he teaches at. And it just destroyed my right ankle. And what happened was the bone spurs broke off. But I was like, it's fine. I'll just deal with it. So then I just dealt with it. I didn't know that there was like, so basically these are floating bones in my ankle now. I just was like working around it. My right ankle was like kind of always bad. So I just kind of like left it, whatever. And then a couple years later, then it starts locking up and I can't do it. I can't do tricks anymore. And then what happens is my right ankle is like this. And since it has no mobility this way because of the bone spurs, it goes sideways. And so then it jerks. I go to the doctor and he goes, oh yeah, you've got floating bones in there. Your bone spurs grew back and you tore a tendon on the outside of your ankle. So now I had to get it just full ankle reconstruction. But it's doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good now.
Those martial art mats are like hard as hell, and especially doing a box cutter.
I know. You feel good on the bottom of your feet, let alone your joints.
Yeah. So, do you keep yeah, obviously you do, but do you keep your body in maintenance, and how so for tricking?
Definitely. So I'm huge into the rehab, like big time. I'd have to say I think I'm still trying to like get into my schedule. I've been only in Colorado for a little while. It's just been focused life stuff that I have. So like I'm tricking hard. I'm doing a lot of like getting my shit together for moving in and everything like that. And then but with the rehab, it's like I was doing way more rehab before, but I'm still on it. Mostly it's like the ankle exercises because both my ankles are pretty bad. They barely have mobility past 90 degrees, so I'm constantly doing that every day no matter what. Andrew Court lives here with me, so that's super hype. He's really, really into like the mobility in the martial arts and everything. He has the most insane straddle stretch you've ever seen. So he's got me on that. So pretty much every night when he comes home, that's like the go-to. Every day in the shower, I'm doing like slow kicks on the floor and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically slow kicks, just mad ankle exercises, which I like. It would take me forever to explain exactly what I do for those because it takes like an hour to do all of them. But super intense on the stretching exercises, and then I'm recently getting into like CBD and stuff like that for my muscles because we have so many tricking sessions here, you know, like 4 to 5, and we can also trick on grass. So we're just like, I just want to trick as much as possible. So if my muscles can keep up, then I can just keep tricking. And then also we've got like massage guns all over the house. We're constantly massage gunning each other, and this is happening every single day, which is so good. That's why I love living in the tricking house and everything like that. Everyone's just so motivated with it.
Yeah, moving on to that, how is it like to live in a tricking house? Tell us like what your housing's like, and who do you live with?
Okay, yeah. So Andrew Court, which I'm sure you know, Eric Howard. If you've seen my videos, I'm sure you've seen him. He's also really, really big into the martial arts. He's a 5th degree black belt. I'm not sure where Andrew Court is with his shirt. Yeah, he's definitely a black belt, probably higher. And then myself. So it's just the 3 of us. We live in the Springs, and we have an apartment. It is a 2-bedroom apartment. We've got 3 people. Andrew's sleeping in the living room. Big balcony. We're on the 3rd floor. We've got an amazing mountain view, and we're like 10 minutes from both flip shacks, which are, I guess, we would call our home gym. And then we've got Active, which is an hour away, and then we've got Hats, which is 2 hours away, but we still go. Because, you know, why wouldn't you? But yeah, so like the tricking house situation is really sick because we're just always surrounded by trickers. It's like, you know, when you like live with like normal people, which we would call muggles, I suppose. We, you know, it's not, tricking's just not the main focus, you know. There's like so many other things going on. It's just not the go-to conversation thing. But like, it's just trickers here. It's only trickers here. So it's like it just takes priority. Tricking just takes priority, and it makes it so easy to be on top of everything and just like stay motivated. We've got a projector, and we're always watching samplers, and it's like, it's just a good time. Like everyone's just wants to focus on tricking, and that's it. Everything comes second.
I've always wanted to go live in a tricker house once I get a little better, but I'm just like worried about the logistics and like if I'm willing to take that risk or not, you know what I mean? But it's something
Yeah,
I definitely want to do one day.
it's definitely not like a risk. It's definitely not, because worst case scenario, you are rooming with cool people and then you decide to trick. I mean, it's still like it's so cheap living in a 2-bedroom with 3 people, and so you're already, it's like there's not really a risk in that sense. And then um yeah, you can just decide to do whatever, and like anything that you have in Wisconsin, Minnesota, we've got here, you know. So and skill level doesn't matter either, as long like if you like hanging out with people that and you're willing to spend money towards rent, I mean, whatever, you know, people.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So yeah.
So let's talk about your open gyms. Like, how is it like to be with like the Colorado community? Like I can't even imagine because it's so lame up here in Minnesota. Like it's literally nobody.
It's so good. Um, it's actually the main reason I moved down was because I was like, oh, there's a chance that I can have training sessions with Andrew Court and Ethan Turner consistently. Yes, yes. So it's so crazy. Like even when I feel like I'm kind of used to it, and even when you're kind of used to it, you're not used to it. You go to the session and is like just shows up like 30 minutes late, and you're like, oh wow, he's gonna take forever to warm up. I wonder if he's gonna trick. Raise tack trip. Okay. I guess he's in. And you know, and I'm just there grinding, trying to get triple court combos, and he's just hucking them like nothing. And then Andrew Court's like, oh, let me warm up, card full defense real quick. Like, oh my God. And then anyone not like top 5 in Colorado is still doing like dub variation combos. So it's still crazy, you know, like even if the biggest dogs don't show up, it's still the best time ever. And the
Yeah,
same, you're surrounded by so many trickers that like even if people are practicing corks, there's so many people, and they're just pushing that it doesn't matter what move you're practicing. You're pushing that hard. It's you just want to be around it, you know. It makes the session so much hype. And then the crazy thing too, down here we get to play our own music whenever we want at every session. The sessions are tricker focused, which is amazing. Like we only have trickers at open gyms, which is crazy to me because back, you know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, it's like we're the secondary or third.
yeah, yeah.
and we don't get to choose music. And we always are waiting for the other people before we're allowed to use the floor and stuff like that. So
Like all the girls are doing the routine music and stuff, and we just gotta wait for quite some time.
right, we
Yeah,
like a small section of the floor over here. We're like, okay, yeah, sure.
yeah. The Colorado community is insane. Is there anything like any mini gatherings happening within the next month or two?
So I don't know how much information is out about it, but I heard that dates are set for Trick Rona, which is like a makeup for the loss of Trick Different. So that should be held at it should be held at Flip Shack, I think by Louise. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard about that. I don't think they posted anything about it yet, but I think either next month or November, I think is kind of somewhere around there. Pretty, a couple months, pretty soon. I'm sure they'll post about it more. I haven't heard anything else though. I don't think Tricktoberfest is happening. Yeah, I think that's it for now. But people are definitely starting towards it because I think it can happen. It can happen now. So we're all just waiting for the people to get on top. Now that people are realizing that we can actually have gatherings, now everyone's starting to like work towards it again.
Yeah, flights to Denver are so cheap.
No, I know. My brother last week, he had like a flight back from Colorado to Wisconsin for like $17. It's crazy.
What? That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about gatherings. So how many gatherings have you been to, and which one's your favorite one?
Well, okay, so I guess I've been to Trick Hungry, Trick Different multiple times. I've been to Neo once. I've been to Neo the Showdown, which is, I'd call a gathering. Dubsurd and Dubsurd. And I think that's it for now. But I've been to each of them multiple times. My favorite is gonna have to be Trick Different though. Even though I like live here now, it's still gonna be my favorite just because the Colorado community, especially the Springs area, everyone's just so hype. The floor is good. The thing I actually don't like about Neo is that they have 2 floors, which is actually, or I guess 3, which is kind of a weird thing to dislike, but it kind of like spreads people apart. Like people feel like, oh, maybe I should trick over here because I can't triple cork. So, but I personally want everyone on the floor. So when it comes to Flip Shack, it's a small gym. Everyone's in the same spot. Everyone's together tricking. It's so packed in, but there's plenty of room for tricking. But everyone's just shoulder to shoulder in a ring around, and everyone, it's a party. It's a party for sure.
Like more and more of a focus.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Not like sure of where. There's a like plus the other thing is I guess I like Trick Hungry and Trick Different the most also because of the location. Florida and Colorado, like there's so much to do outside of the gathering as well.
Yeah.
So it's then even if you're too sort of still a good time.
In 2021, assuming the COVID crisis is all like figured out, hypothetically speaking, like what gatherings that you haven't been to that you want to go to that you really want to go to?
Definitely Hooked. That's what me, Eric, and Andrew are talking about like crazy. Going to Hooked for sure. Other than that, just probably revisiting the other ones. I was gonna go to Shant Jam, but by Bob, but I didn't expect it to happen, and then it ended up happening. I don't know if it did happen. So, but yeah, it was just like we were still moving in here. It wasn't gonna work to go do that. So it was just too much going on here. But I'd like to do that because I've never been to the East Coast, so that'd be pretty cool. I guess Florida kind of is East Coast, but besides that,
yeah, Hooked is something else.
yeah.
I wish I came to Hooked in 2018. That was like, or 2016 too, when for Go Brothers.
Yeah.
See all those in person.
Any Hooked, I wish I was there. I haven't been.
Any Hooked. Yeah, that's a better way.
And the recording and like the end edit is just so good, and then they like separate it well. Like they have the battles and the tricking, and it's so well organized, and it's a very big place. And like last year, everyone was complaining that it was like the floor was really shitty because it was new. Doesn't even matter, like you say, J-Step cork in on a shitty floor.
Yeah.
Good time. People make it work.
So, are there any tricking athletes that you look up to?
I guess probably Zen and Shosei the most, but for a weirder reason other than they're the best is like it just shows you. So specifically for Shosei, it's just because like he treats his body so well. You know, like if you compare the U.S. to Japan, it's like the correlation is pretty obvious in the sense that like people look at Shosei and they're like, "There's no way that a body could reach that level." But the way I treat my body, I can see how it works. I'm a lot older than he is, so it's obvious that maybe I can't get to that. But the amount of time he trains for, the amount of speed he can retain in combos, and like a trust he has in his body and explosive that he can just do so easily, it comes so naturally. That is something that the normal human body can obtain. So I look up to him in that sense because it's just like, you know, he's just pushing the boundaries constantly and he doesn't care what has or hasn't been done. He's going to do it, you know? And then Zen for the level of creativity with power, I think is super, super amazing. Just using all his combo ability better than Shosei's, which I've heard other people say as well. And then I guess Andrew Court is another big one. If you've ever seen his full in sampler, I think that's the Andrew just really it just really embodies him. So I think that's the one the version of him that I look up to the most is like he's so intense and he's just pushing so hard to break his limits and he's doing it, you know. And then yeah, I think Ethan Turner also, but I think the big thing about him is I want him to take care of his body a lot more. You know, he's so good, but I think he could be so much better if he worked at it. You know.
Because like rehab and just taking care of his body a little better.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that's a lot of pressure on one foot. Like the stuff he does.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And he's still young. I mean, I think when he's 19. When he gets older, I think maybe he'll be more rehab focused. I guess I don't remember. Because I wasn't at the level I'm at now, you know, until recently. Like I wasn't doing triple corks at 19 years old. Maybe it does nothing to him. You know, maybe he's just fine. So when he turns, you know, 22 also, then, you know, maybe he'll be doing rehab. We'll see.
Did you do any weight training or like any calisthenics to make yourself better?
I used to. So I guess I kind of started working out in like 6th grade, which is kind of why I'm big. I'd say it was not like super well focused, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with like the muscle I was trying to gain. I was just trying to like, you know, I enjoyed working out. It was good like release and everything like that. And then I just started getting into the sports. I got into wrestling, and I was like, okay, upper body must be important. I actually got into Ninja Warrior before I started, kind of at the same time, I guess I was wrestling before I started doing the flips. And so the upper body was like a big focus. But then I found tricking the same time that I was doing American Ninja Warrior. And I was like, okay, I have to choose now. You know, I have to pick between these two. And because tricking is so lower body based and American Ninja Warrior is so upper body based. So I decided to go with tricking. And so now I'm trying to shrink my upper body. I actually haven't any upper body workouts for probably like 2 years. Yeah, and the only exercise I do is tricking, and then I do conditioning for everything else, which is I only focus it on like core muscles. Like for example, if my quads are sore, I'll do like 50 like jump lunges just to like get the blood flowing, make sure that the mobility is all there. You're sore and you just like leave your legs straight for like a day, you're fucked. You gotta move them and keep them loose, you know. So that's what I'm all about. Like it's not, you don't work out to burn, you just work out to move all their full motion, you know.
2 years is a lot of time. You're pretty slow still, so it's crazy.
My tricking is power based, so you know when I do that master scoot, I'm just doing so like maybe I do like 100 plus push-ups a day in master scoot, you know. Not actual push-ups, but it happens. Or when I fall. Gotta catch yourself.
Yeah. So a big theme of this podcast is um like what do you want to put your asterisk or your significance in the sport of tricking? And to add on to that, what do you want to like what makes you different from everybody else? Like what do you want to differentiate yourself from other people? So
Mm,
that's significantly Chris Cernohous. I mean, yeah.
yeah, I guess I guess my level of dedication and my like intensity. I think I just really enjoy being like intense and dedicated to it, and like because there's a lot of people who go to the sessions, or a lot of people who trick who are I guess they do it for fun or like as a hobby, but I just want like, and that's fine, I just want to be able to show them that they're, to show everybody it's like, oh, I can't really double cork consistently, so then a lot of people just kind of stop, they're like, oh well, probably never, and a lot looked at me as one of those people for a really long time. And then I'm coming back from an ankle surgery, right? Like the worst possible probably situation I could have been in. It's like, oh, I'm so old, I guess, freaking. There's not really a chance of getting any better than I was before the surgery. I had to relearn everything from scratch, and I did it. And now I'm better than I was, and now I feel like I'm one of the top dogs. Doing snatch cannons multiple times, doing triple core combos, and doing dub combos, stuff like that. Like it just feels really good to like show people that they can also make it, and I want to kind of be like that light to show people that they can also push, if they try, then they can also do it. I want them to also realize, like, if they don't push, that they're not going to make it. Because it seemed for like a long time that people were like, okay, either I'm good or I'm bad, and then they just kind of left it at that. But no, if you put the work, like, yes, I have to put in way more work, I feel like, than other people. Like, for example, like Ethan, he's not putting in a lot of work outside of the sessions. He's doing a shit ton in the sessions. I'm sure he did a lot before he got to this point, but hanging out with him, he's like, he's not doing a ton of rehab like I'm doing. Like we're all hanging out, and I'm there like massage gunning, stretching, and he's on the couch hanging out. But like it's a lot of people, but he's a lot younger too, and it's like I do have to put in more work, but like I'm willing to do that. So just kind of that. I just want to leave that.
Yeah, I had a friend I used to do flips with during high school, and he stopped doing flips eventually. He was just like, man, if I did this when I was a lot younger, I'd be a lot better than I am right now. And
Right.
he just quit. Like, bro, like you got to
Yeah.
put the work in. Like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Uh, crap, I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna add on to that,
It's good.
but all right, yeah. So I have a we're almost done with the podcast here, so I have a funny scenario for you that you should try to answer. So let's say you're walking down your street to your local Walmart, and you happen to be the very first person there, excluding any of the employees. However, there happens to be a zombie apocalypse about to occur, and the zombies are like the Walking Dead zombies. They're really slow, but they're really strong at the same time. So you managed to have enough time to grab the first 5 items of anything you want that are a must-have. And let's just assume that once you grab all the 5 items, you still have a chance to grab other things, but people are going to come in and rush in to try to take everything. So, what are the first 5 things you want to grab before everybody else takes everything?
Ooh, 5 is a lot. I guess like definitely definitely a machete, definitely water, and then probably after that it's pretty much like where you get lucky. Like machete, water, probably some canned beans is the next thing that comes to mind. Um, and potentially like sweatshirts, for protection and warmth. And then I guess like rope. Next one, rope, because then you can like get places and use it for quite. So yeah,
Wait, what's your fifth one?
rope.
Oh, okay. So, with the concluding questions here, how important is tricking to you, and what lessons has it taught you over the years?
It's super important to me. It's pretty much like it's, like I said, we live in the trigger house. It's our main focus, without that, I don't really have a set goal. And I could switch my goal. If it didn't exist, I could focus on other things and that would be fine, but it would only be fine. It wouldn't be as exciting or as amazing. I guess I also want to say this, like if anyone watches anime or anything like that, like it's like this great journey to this like end destination. That's what tricking feels like to me. It's just like this end goal. Like even though there's no end to it, it's like you're just constantly pushing, and it's like this exciting part of life that you get to be a part of. That's what it is. You're not in the tricking community going to gatherings. You want to be, because that's the essence of it. And yeah, without it, like it just taught me. It's taught me so much. Like Ethan Turner said this in a recent post, and he voiced it really, really well. And it was he said it just teaches you how to dub and trip cork on life. Like you don't get to like get triple cork because you're lucky. You don't get it on Smash because you're lucky. You don't get it on Smash for any other reason other than you try that hard. You're willing to fall that many times, and you're willing to figure it out and go through the steps to do that. You can apply that anywhere, and you get this mental perseverance that allows you to be very, very strong. And it gives yourself like a lot of confidence, especially like one thing I always say is like, getting this apartment was super, super tough. I've never moved before. I moved from living with my parents into this apartment, and I was saying like these muggles, they got the apartment. I can get the apartment. If they can do it, I can do it. That's how I looked at tricking. People have done this before. Let me do it. That's how I look at pretty much everything. So it just helped me, giving me the confidence, the willingness to persevere through pretty much anything and figure things out that I want to figure out. And also like it's like it was really hard to jump into tricking, because like you said, it's like you don't want to move into a trigger house until you get to like a certain level. Is like how you feel like you don't want to go to a gather until you have consistent core combos. I feel that, but at the same time, you need to jumpstart that journey and really put yourself in, because once you do that, now you're enjoying your life. Now your life started. Like I said, life started when you started tricking, for me anyway.
Yeah, to add on to that, like this concept of like the hero's journey, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like battling through like monsters and climbing the tallest mountains. That's probably like a good analogy to like what you're saying.
100%. Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in the future of the sport, ideally?
In the future, the way I feel right now, I don't feel like I'm going to slow down anytime soon. I think also that I'm learning more and more about what works for my body. I'm hoping to be able to triple cork at least until I'm 40. And if you can cork until you're 40 years old, I'm only 22. That's 20 years, so I'll be tricking for 25 years at that point. That's insane. My body's gonna be so good. I'm gonna have a crazy mental understanding of the sport. But definitely I want to be teaching because of that. So, and I already enjoy teaching. I've got my YouTube channel, Trix Fix, and you can tell, how much right now I'm just getting so excited about, sharing all the information that I have and the way I view everything. So I just want to keep sharing that. And I want to buy a house in Colorado and get established here. And this is where I want to be, regardless of if the community sticks or not. Willing to like rebuild the community, so if this whole thing doesn't stick, which I don't see a reason why it wouldn't, it seems to be growing, I would rebuild from scratch if that was the case.
One thing I really want to do is to build up the Minnesota tricking community. I don't really know a lot of people from Minnesota that trick, so like if I could do that, that'd be really cool. Like make it as big as Colorado, if that's even possible.
Yeah, live like close to some of the gyms we trained at, because we've trained together. Midwest was the one, but Jeff, right? So before I left, I like wanted to make sure that he had like a decent tricking community. So what we did is we just started going around. Every time we saw anyone do flips in the park, we'd contact them ASAP. We constantly be talking about like, oh, this is where we live, and our would be like, whoa, I live here. And we would just constantly do that. So if you want a tricking community, contact him because they have a good group kind of going. Or like maybe they've kind of dispersed now that me and Eric have left. But definitely bring them back to interested, or like at least because if there's 5 people, then 10 people want to be there. So then there's 10 people, then 20 people want to be there. You just got to get it moving. People start rolling in.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna try to do that.
Yeah.
So that's gonna pretty much be all the questions for today.
Okay.
You're such a big inspiration, like for everybody. Like everybody I know at Midwest, like, damn, this dude that I used to train with, that went to the same open gym as me, like he landed snatch can. That's fucking insane.
I landed it in Midwest first too. So shout out Wisconsin. Oh, Minnesota. But thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
first one in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like just remember that you're a really big inspiration for all of us in the upper Midwest area. And keep tricking. I can't wait to see like where you progress in the future.
Thanks.
So yeah. See you later, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.